The snow fell relentlessly outside the mansion, blanketing the world in white, but inside, it was a different kind of cold. Aaron Harper, the man who had everything, was falling apart. The laughter of his family echoed through the halls, but he was nowhere to be found. He was hiding from them, from himself, and from me. I didn't come here to be just another person in his life. I came to save him. But as I stood at the entrance to the grand hallway of his mansion, I realized something that scared me more than anything. I wasn't just here to save him. I was here to save myself, too. 2 years ago, I left everything behind. I left the Harper family, the mansion, the life I knew, and I traveled abroad to study therapy. It was my way of escaping the weight of expectations, of needing to be something I wasn't. The Harper family had always been close to mine. We were family friends, close as could be. I spent summers in their mansion, running through the gardens, laughing with Aaron and his siblings. But I always knew Aaron had a life I could never fully understand. A life of pressure, expectations, and secrets, hidden behind a perfect smile. When I returned home from my studies, the last thing I expected was to get a call from Mrs. Harper. "Bella," she said, her voice tight, "we need you to come back. Aaron, he's not the same." I could hear the distress in her voice, the weight of years of pressure that had broken her son. And I knew, right then, that my life was about to change again. "I'll come," I said, without hesitation. "I'll help him." I had no idea what I was walking into. No idea that Aaron was more broken than I could imagine. I stepped into the Harper mansion, feeling the familiar chill of luxury, but this time it was different. The gleaming marble floors, the crystal chandeliers, they felt like a facade, an illusion of perfection hiding the truth. I wasn't just a visitor here anymore. I was now someone brought in to fix the cracks. When I first saw Aaron, he didn't look at me. He stood at the top of the grand staircase, staring out of the window, his posture stiff, as if trying to distance himself from the world. His family had made it clear. They wanted him to show up, to be the perfect son, the perfect heir. But in that moment, I realized something. He was trapped. I called his name softly. "Aaron." He didn't turn immediately. "You're here," he said, as if my presence didn't matter, as if the world outside was a far more interesting place. But it didn't matter. I wasn't just here to sit and watch. I was here to reach him, to break down the walls he'd built around himself. "I'm Bella," I said quietly. "I'm here to help." His gaze flickered for a moment, and then he turned, his eyes filled with something unreadable. "Help. Funny how people think you can just fix someone like me." I felt the tension in his voice, the bitterness that dripped from every word. And I knew right then, this wouldn't be easy. The mansion was quiet, but the weight of the silence was crushing. Aaron led me into his study, and I sat across from him. He didn't speak, didn't look at me. There was a coldness to him now, a distance that I hadn't noticed before. This wasn't the man I remembered from my childhood. "I don't need a therapist, Bella," he said suddenly, his voice low and tight. "I don't need your pity. I don't need anyone." I swallowed the lump in my throat and met his gaze. "I'm not here to pity you, Aaron. I'm here because you're not okay, and pretending to be is only making it worse." His lips curled into a bitter smile. "Pretending to be fine is all I've ever done." For the first time, he let the walls fall. His eyes, sharp and intense, seemed to search mine, as if asking me to understand what he had been hiding all these years. The man who had it all was now a man falling apart. "You don't have to be perfect, Aaron," I said softly. "You're allowed to break. You're allowed to be human." His gaze softened, but only for a moment. "I'm not human, Bella. I'm an heir, a pawn, and everyone expects me to live up to something I can't." The fire crackled in the hearth, its warmth in stark contrast to the coldness I felt from Aaron. We were alone in the study, and for the first time, I could see the cracks in his armor. I leaned forward, my voice gentle but firm. Tell me about your father, about your family. How is your relationship with your dad? He didn't answer right away, his eyes fixed on the flickering flames. The tension in the room thickened, like a storm waiting to break. My father, Aaron's voice was rough, like he had to force the words out. He never saw me as a person. I was just a tool, a means to an end. The words hit me like a punch. But you were his son, Aaron. He should have. I wasn't a son. I was an heir, a trophy to show off. My whole life, I was expected to be perfect, to be everything they wanted. And when I wasn't, when I couldn't be, they turned their backs on me. He built an empire from nothing, and he expected me to carry it all, to be perfect. There was no room for weakness, no room for failure. He walked over to the window, staring out at the snow-covered garden, his hands clenched into fists at his sides. When I was young, I thought my father loved me, but all he ever saw was potential. He never saw me. He saw the heir to his empire, the future of the family name. That's all I ever was to him, an asset. And when I couldn't live up to his expectations, Aaron trailed off, the words almost too painful for him to say. I could see the crack in his armor, the vulnerability he had fought so hard to conceal. What happened? I asked, my voice quiet, but the weight of my question hung between us. Aaron turned back to face me, his gaze darkened with memories that still haunted him. He shut me out. Every time I failed, it was like a wound that wouldn't heal. My mistakes, my feelings, they didn't matter. I was never enough. I felt my chest tighten as I watched him, a man who had everything yet had never been given the chance to be himself. And your mother? I asked, knowing it would be painful to hear. She's the same, Aaron said, his voice harder now, like a wall rising between us. She stands by him, a perfect little lady in her world of glass and gold. She doesn't question, she just follows. He turned away again, unable to look at me. I don't blame her, not really. But I grew up in a house where love was a transaction, where I was just a means to an end. I had no chance to be anything else. And now I'm here, facing my own demons and still wondering why I'm so damn broken. The rawness in his voice, the weight of his past, made my heart ache. This wasn't just about the money or the empire. This was about a man who had been suffocated by his own family, forced to live up to impossible standards. He had never been allowed to be human. I'm sorry, Aaron, I whispered, my voice trembling as I stepped closer to him. I had no idea. He met my gaze then, his eyes dark, filled with so many emotions that it nearly broke me. No one does, Bella. No one ever does. And that's why I've kept it all hidden. Because if they knew the truth, if they knew how much I'm hurting, they'd see me as a failure, a disappointment. I reached out, my fingers brushing against his, grounding him, grounding myself. You're not a failure. You're just lost. And it's okay to be lost. You don't have to hide from who you are. Aaron stared at me, his breath shallow, as if my words had cut through the fog that had clouded his mind for so long. He seemed to be searching for something in my eyes, a promise, maybe. I don't know how to fix myself, he whispered. I don't know how to be the man they want me to be. I stepped closer, my voice gentle but firm. Then don't be that man. Be the man you are, Aaron. Let go of the past and who they want you to be. It's never too late to choose yourself. For a moment, there was silence, and then something in his eyes shifted. The hardness softened. The anger faded. And for the first time, I saw a man, not a billionaire, not a perfect heir, but a man who was learning to breathe again. Thank you, he whispered, almost too quietly to hear. I nodded, my heart aching for him. You don't have to thank me. Just promise me you won't give up. Aaron smiled, a small, fragile smile, but it was a start. And in that moment, I knew we were both starting something new. The weight of his confession hung in the air. I didn't ask for this, Bella. I didn't ask for any of it. You can be whoever you are, Aaron. We left the chaos of the party behind, the laughter and clinking glasses fading as we stepped outside into the garden. The snow was falling harder now, and the cold air bit at my skin, but it didn't matter. The cold was nothing compared to the warmth of the truth we were finally facing. Aaron stood by the garden fountain, his hands in his pockets, his eyes staring at the snow as if trying to escape everything. You don't have to be perfect, I whispered, stepping closer to him. You don't have to do this alone. He turned to face me, his eyes dark with something I couldn't name. But I am alone, Bella. I've always been alone. No one sees me for who I am. No one ever has. I see you, I said softly, taking a step toward him. I've always seen you. The air between us crackled with something unspoken, something dangerous. And then, without a word, he closed the distance between us, his lips capturing mine in a kiss that was filled with raw emotion, fear, and longing. Under the mistletoe, everything else disappeared. The sound of the party, the whispers, the expectations. It all faded as Aaron's lips met mine, soft and desperate. I could feel his pain in the kiss, his need for something more than just a momentary escape. I didn't expect this, Aaron whispered, pulling away slightly. I didn't expect you to be here, to care. I smiled, my fingers tracing the line of his jaw. You don't have to be perfect, Aaron. I'm here for you, flaws and all. The mansion, once so cold and unwelcoming, felt different now. The warmth between us was enough to melt the ice that had encased us both. We sat by the fire, our hands intertwined, and for the first time, I felt at peace. I don't know how to be the man I'm supposed to be, Aaron said quietly, his voice steady now. You don't have to be, I whispered. Just be you, the real you. And as the light of Christmas morning streamed through the windows, I knew that we had found something more precious than all the wealth in the world. We had found each other, and that was enough. The light of Christmas morning streamed through the windows, bathing the room in a soft golden glow. The warmth between Aaron and me felt like a stark contrast to the icy landscape outside, where the snow continued to fall gently, covering the world in a blanket of quiet serenity. We were sitting by the fire, our hands intertwined. The sounds of the mansion's Christmas decorations and the distant chatter of the party downstairs feeling like a faint echo. In the stillness, it was just us. I never thought I'd get to feel like this again, Aaron said, his voice low and sincere. Not with everything I've done, everything I've been through. I didn't know if I deserved it. You don't have to deserve love, Aaron, I whispered. You're worthy of it because you're you. The man sitting here, the man who's fighting for himself and fighting for something real. He nodded slowly, the words clearly resonating with him. For a long time, he had seen himself as nothing more than an extension of his family's empire, as a commodity, rather than a person. But now, there was a shift. He was beginning to understand that he wasn't defined by his father's expectations or his inherited wealth. He was defined by his choices, by his willingness to face his flaws and confront the truth. I still don't know what to do with all of this, Aaron admitted, looking down at his hands as if seeking answers within himself. I've spent so many years trying to be what everyone wanted, trying to fulfill their dreams, that I've forgotten what I want, who I am. I leaned in, my voice soft and encouraging. You don't have to have it all figured out, Aaron. It's okay to not know. What matters is that you're here. You're willing to face your past, and you're choosing to build a future that's yours, not anyone else's. And I'll be here with you every step of the way. The raw vulnerability in his eyes made my heart ache. I knew this wouldn't be easy for him, but in that moment, I realized that we were both on a journey. not just together, but as individuals learning to embrace who we truly were. As the day went on, Aaron and I began to talk more about his past, his fears, his failures, and the relationships that had shaped him. But we also started to uncover things about each other that we hadn't shared before. In the warmth of the study, the fire still crackling softly in the hearth, I finally shared something with Aaron that I had kept hidden for a long time. My own struggles. I wasn't immune to pain. I had run away, left everything behind to escape my own version of suffocation. I left because I thought I had to, I told him. My voice trembling slightly. I thought if I stayed, I would lose myself. The pressure, the expectations, it was all too much. I thought I was doing what was best for me. But the truth is, I didn't know how to face what I was running from. Aaron's gaze softened as he listened. We're not so different, are we? No, I admitted, my heart heavy with understanding. We're not. There was something profoundly healing in sharing that moment with him. In that room, amidst the firelight and Christmas warmth, we both let go of the walls we had built around ourselves. The mansion was alive with the hum of the party, but Aaron and I had retreated to the balcony for a moment of quiet. The sky above was darkening, but the twinkling lights of the Christmas tree inside glowed softly, illuminating the world in a gentle haze. We stood together side by side, our breath visible in the crisp winter air. The snow continued to fall, adding to the ethereal beauty of the scene. You know, Aaron said quietly, his voice steady but filled with emotion. I never thought I would make it this far. I never thought I would get to a point where I could see a way out of this darkness. I turned to him, reaching out to gently touch his arm. You did, Aaron. You're here now. You're ready to face the future. His eyes met mine, and in that moment, I saw something I hadn't seen before. Hope. And you, Aaron said, his voice thick with emotion. You've made me believe again. You've made me think there's something worth fighting for. I smiled softly, my heart swelling with affection. You're worth fighting for, Aaron. We both are. It was late, and the party was winding down. But Aaron and I stayed outside in the garden, still talking, still unraveling the layers of our hearts. Aaron, I whispered, my voice steady but filled with quiet determination. We're not done yet. There's still so much ahead of us, so much to build, to discover. I know, he replied, his voice steady and filled with new confidence. And I'm ready to face it all, Bella, with you. We stood together in the snow, the cold air wrapping around us, but it didn't matter. We were no longer the people we had been. We were new, reborn in the warmth of truth, love, and understanding. Aaron's hand found mine, and for the first time in a long while, we didn't need to speak to know what the other was thinking. The future was uncertain, but we were no longer afraid. Together, we would face whatever came next. The Christmas lights shimmered in the distance, the fire in the garden glowing warmly. And as we shared a quiet kiss under the winter sky, I knew that this was just the beginning.